welcome you to the meeting of the College Station Independent School Board of Trustees. We are elected at large to represent the interests of our community and our state in educating our students. Our mission for our students in this district is success each life, each day, each hour. We adhere to all pertinent laws, policies, and procedures in posting agendas and conducting our meetings. The detailed agenda information was made available to us at least 72 hours in advance, and we've all come to this meeting informed and prepared. We have just completed a workshop meeting where we heard reports and discussed much of the information needed to make decisions in either this meeting or in upcoming meetings. This is a meeting of the 7 trustees in a public setting rather than a public meeting. As such, public comment is included on the agenda at a specific time and requires us to listen rather than take action so as to abide by the Open Meetings Act. We're pleased that you've taken time this evening to join us. We're very proud of this school district, and we thank you for your interest and support of our students. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. We'll begin tonight, as we always do, with the pledges to the American flag, the Texas flag, and our moment of silence. I'm proud to introduce the proud principal of Forest Ridge Elementary, because if I don't say it, she will, Teresa Cott. She'll be introducing her 2 kids. And Heather Sherman, the proud assistant principal of Southwood Valley Elementary, will be introducing her 2 kids.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have with us Ethan Sherman and also Kemper Keller. Some interesting facts about our 2 visitors this evening is Ethan is an all-star soccer player. He plays on a competitive soccer team, and Kemper is absolutely loves computers, loves it much more than completing schoolwork. If you can imagine that. And also an interesting fact is both of these students are in our dual language program at Southwood Valley Elementary, so they are currently learning Spanish as long as completing their English with their curriculum. So we're excited to have them with us tonight.
Okay. And from Forest Ridge, we have 2 fabulous Falcons. Our first Falcon is Blake Jackson. He is a leader in our 1st grade. He is known for being a mathematics scholar. So he particularly enjoys subtraction and addition and solving really hard math problems. In his spare time, he loves to jump on his trampoline with his best friend. He's also the sporty type. So he prefers to play sports rather than watch them on TV, especially football. He's a defensive player, sort of like Von Miller. He really loves to pull someone's flag. And we have Allie Jackson. Allie Jackson is also a 1st grader at Forest Ridge, and she is really known for being a leader in the area of reading language arts. She loves to read, especially books that are fiction. She has already read almost every fiction book in her home, so Mom and Dad have to go to the book fair. But and she's working on all those fiction books in the school library. So in Allie's spare time, she loves to play outside, especially riding her bike with her friends. But she also has passions in the area of ballet, guitar, and she's trying to talk her parents into piano lessons. So something very special about Blake and Allie is, in case you haven't noticed, they are twins.
Ready?
Please stand for the Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now for the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
we've got to get your pictures now on the board right here.
Come on back over here. Wait, Jim. I might, but.
Take one more. 1, 2, 3. Any other moms? We good? Moms, grandmothers? That's all of our recognitions. I can leave, are you?
I told her I could.
Okay, we'll move on. Thank you for the parents that brought our students. We appreciate you bringing them. We'd like to go ahead and recognize the artwork. Tonight, the boardroom is decorated by artwork from Greens Prairie Elementary, Pebble Creek Elementary, South Knoll Elementary, and Southwood Valley Elementary. And you can see that each one of the schools is learning something a little bit different, but all of it is spectacular. And so we're really appreciative of the art teachers that are teaching our students. We'll move on to D, the consent agenda. The items that are on consent are G, the minutes, J2, J3, J4. Does anybody have anything that they would like to pull off or just, or a
I
motion?
move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as proposed, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you for that. Does anybody have any board announcements they'd like to share with the group?
We did not have any intergovernmental relations meetings this last month, but Dr. Ely and I went to Region 6 on February 2nd. They had a grassroots governmental relations meeting, and it was very interesting. All the participants got to list different things that we thought should be addressed during the upcoming legislative session, and so it was very good.
Thank you. Anybody else?
DEIC met and came up with a calendar that they're going to present to the board.
Absolutely.
So we're looking forward to that. Came up with a good calendar.
Good.
Education Foundation met, and we looked at the stats from 50 Men Who Could Cook from about 10 days ago, a record year. Teresa and her crew did a phenomenal job, had over $200,000 raised, almost 1,600 attendees, and when you throw in the cooks and volunteers, almost 2,000 people were there. Mark your calendars for February 3rd next year.
Great. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
I'd just like to say the School Health Education Council has been meeting and doing some, I think, fantastic things that I'm not at liberty really to discuss right now, but I think we've got, I'm just building suspense for when they present to us. I want you to be anxious about when they come
But
forward.
will we be healthier? That's the important
Well, I
part.
don't know, we'll be healthier, but I'm confident our kids will be healthier.
Great.
So just to acknowledge the work that they're doing.
Great. Thank you.
Dr. Gideon, PAC met this last couple weeks ago now. Two things I wanted to bring up. One was I appreciate the fact that they were updated on safety concerns of our kids during that meeting, and the lengths at which our district goes to keep our kids safe is really quite astonishing and down to the details. And that was explained to these teachers during the time, especially visitor management during lunches, something that they are working on currently. I'm sure we'll see more about that. And then the other thing is that, I forget that we do some volunteering work in the district. The district as a whole has some some community that, places that they support, and those would be the Relay for Life, United Way, and the Brazos Food Bank. And we do give a lot of time to that as a district, and I'm real proud of that.
Great, thank you. Dr. Ely, Superintendent Report.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. I just want to follow up on the 50 men and just say a special word of thanks to Teresa Benden and all the work that she and her staff and her many, many volunteers do to make this a reality. It's hard to believe that this is the 9th time that we have done 50 men, and it's gotten bigger and better every year. And so as we mark our calendar for next year, it's our 10th anniversary, so it'll be a very special 50 men. Our 10th anniversary will be next year in February of 2017. It was, I guess, serendipitous this evening because Ms. Cott got to introduce a couple of folks to us, Blake and Allie Jackson. It was their grandmother, Ann Ganter, who was here this evening, who was the original Education Foundation director, and first brought this idea to us. And it's been a great, obviously it's been a great activity and something I think our whole community looks forward to during the February winter time of the year. So thank you to both of those ladies. I just want to talk about February. November and February always sneak up on me. I forget how busy they are with a lot of success going on with our students in College Station ISD. November is when we're in football playoffs and volleyball and team tennis, and cross country is going to state. And swimming has started. Now in February, we've got girls and boys basketball in the playoffs. We had 2 games last night. We've got the wrestling, boys and girls wrestling just finished regionals at Bryan High last Saturday. I was honored to be able to go and see our wrestlers there, and a number of them advanced to state. We are in the middle of swimming state. Let's see. Oh, and soccer is in starting second round of district. And track is right around track actually starts this weekend. So a lot of things going on in College Station ISD, a lot of success our students are having. Pretty soon it'll be one act playtime, and it'll be academic UIL, and that'll be just right around the corner. So appreciate the hard work of the principals and our teachers who go, and sponsors and coaches who go out of the way to work with our students and our student athletes, and appreciate their work and all the success that we've been able to have.
Great.
Smart report.
Great, thank you for that. We'll move on to E2, consider approval of the charter of the College Station ISD Path to 25K Committee. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. As was talked about during our board workshop, the Board of Trustees has come up with an idea to gather feedback from our community. It's called the Path to 25K, 25K being it's not a race. It is 25,000 students that we were on our way to having.
I tried for the health part, but he wouldn't go.
So as you know, we are over 13,000 students this year, and our demographers tell us that we will be towards 25, that we could be as big as 25,000. In fact, at the workshop, we got to hear some information about how quickly we may get there, and had some interesting conversation with our demographer in regards to that. Needless to say, though, we've got to really look at the direction of the district, the overall core beliefs and commitments, making sure that the direction that we're heading is still calibrated with our community's expectations for the school children of College Station ISD. So the board has determined that what we need to do is bring the board, senior administration, and some parents and community members together, in fact, even 3 students, together to talk about where we're going, our initiatives we're having, and what we need to do to make sure as we continue to grow and continue to change, those key things that we need to make sure we pay attention to so we don't lose sight of our vision. And so that's what the Path to 25K committee is about. We have 2 pieces of action tonight. Dr. Yokin, the first is to approve the charter that the board put out for this ad hoc advisory committee. You'll find that linked under E2. And so it would be the administration's recommendation that the board approve the charter for the Path to 25K committee. And with that, I'd like to answer any questions that Joe may have.
Thank you for that summary. Any questions for Dr. Ely?
Not a question. I guess I'd just like to make a comment, which is that I think this is an important endeavor for us. We've been growing at a really rapid pace, and this is going to allow us, not that I don't certainly think that we've got a strong mission and strong values, but this is going to help to recalibrate us, I think, as we move forward in terms of maintaining and making decisions for the right reasons as we get and approach 25,000 kids. So, you know, at the end of the day, if everybody's on a different page, you don't ever have to make a hard decision if your values blow every time the wind does. And I think going through a process like this and establishing some values and what we think is important as a board, but also certainly with community input, is going to allow us to make decisions that will push us forward for the right reasons. So I'm looking forward to next week.
Thank you. Anybody else? Do we have a motion?
You people are slow on the draw. I would move that we approve the charter as presented in the board minutes, or whatever that is, agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the board, the committee charter, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? So motion carries 7-0. We'll move on to E3, consider approval of the College Station ISD path to 525K committee members. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. I've done the lead up already. So the second piece of action tonight is board approval of the list of committee members. You'll find that linked to your agenda under E3. I'd love to answer any questions you may have.
Please note your names are included, so we will.
It would be our recommendation that the board would approve these members.
I make the motion that we consider approval of the committee members for Path to 25K.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries to approve the committee member 7-0. Thank you for that. Do we have any hearings of citizens? Thank you. All right, Ms. Verzha, please, you can come forward and just for clarity for the, over here, that'd be great. Just for clarity for everyone, we encourage people from the community to come and talk to us, but as I said in the opening statement, this is a meeting of the 7 trustees in a public setting, and so we're very happy to listen to you, but we won't be able to respond back. And Ms. Horn will have the clock because you have a 3-minute window in which to have comment. Thank you very much.
Okay. The reason why I came was I had seen the agenda and was excited to see about the mission and the core beliefs and things that you were going to be revisiting. However, I did want to give you some feedback prior to heading in, and this relates to the charter, from parents that you may not normally hear from. I imagine that you get a lot of emails from people when they're upset. There's a lot of growing frustration when the schools get full, which you're going to be mediating soon with the opening of the intermediate school. However, I've talked to a lot of parents, and we're really happy with the way the mission and the core beliefs and principles of making the schools comparable among the campuses, of focusing on academic excellence and success for each student. And some of the parents were saying, should we email them and let them know that we're happy? And I said, well, I'm sure they'd love that. Happy emails are good. But at the same time, we wanted to let you know that when you go into that and then later on when you're looking at attendance zones, that there are parents out there that even though my life was affected by zonings going back as far back as 2005 or it was the Forest Ridge, I think, opened, change happens and change isn't bad. And we move on, and I think that was one of the most contentious rezonings was right around 2010, somewhere in there, where we had a 6% population explosion in the campuses directly due to a natural event, and that was Hurricane Katrina, and parents were saying, hey, what can we do? And the board listened to that, and the teachers came and they spoke about how things affected them, and you all said, let's focus on success for each student, making the campuses comparable, and go from there. And I think it's worked great. I mean, that was a decade ago. And you've got all these national merit scholars, all these great kids, all these wonderful students and educators. And I just wanted to let you know, you're doing a great job. So.
Thank you so much. Could you come back every Thank you very much.
Chuck, can you replay that back on video a couple of times? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now we know why the benefit of having the actual filming. Okay, we'll move on to H1 and receive a report related to Add+Vantage math recovery.
Very, very close.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. Yes, as we call it here, AVMR, because you probably got from the Head Start, we love acronyms, and so we have a bunch of them. So we have with us today our coordinator for math and science instruction, Jennifer Smith. She's been in this position now for
A year
and a half, coordinating both math and science. We've had this opportunity this year to go through some math recovery training. It's been very powerful for our kids, and we wanted to take this opportunity to talk with you about math. Math is it gets a lot of talk around the state of Texas, especially these last couple of years, because what some of the audience may not know is that the state of Texas has rewritten is one way to look at, but really redistributed the standards, moving them from things that were taught in sixth grade now to being in fourth grade, and moving things around. It's been very difficult for educators and students and even families across the state to be able to deal with that. So we're very thankful that we have Ms. Smith in this position that's helping us with that, and look forward to her telling us a little bit about AVMR. Jennifer?
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be able to share this with you guys. I've spent many, many days in this room training over 120 of our teachers in Advantage Math Recovery. And so I just want to kind of go through it as possible, but slow enough so everybody could understand. So we have three main areas that I'm going to focus on is explain the components and features of Advantage Math Recovery. What is it? Share our journey. How did we get to this point? And then also identify any challenges and goals that we have as we keep moving forward. So in a nutshell, AVMR provides a unique approach to professional development for improving elementary numeracy instruction and student achievement. And we focused on the elementary piece because it is foundational as we move into the intermediate, middle school, and high school realm of mathematics. It supports our K-5 mathematics assessment and teaching through innovative approaches to understanding children's mathematical thinking. It's not just about getting a right answer, it's how did they arrive to it, which fits perfectly into our standards and how they have changed. It provides teachers with resources to analyze and modify instructional tasks to meet the needs of a diverse range of students. As we continue to grow, the needs of our students are also changing, and so this is going to give them opportunities to really dig in to know what their students know in the math realm. This expertise for the teachers will also allow them to customize the materials that are in their classroom. They can possibly redistribute some of those materials to be able to focus on what their kids need and maybe pass them along to other teachers that might need them for their students. All of this is really founded on extensive research, 25 plus years of research from Dr. Bob Wright, who is out of Australia. He worked with Dr. Leslie Steffi at the University of Georgia, and then also Dr. Paul Cobb at Vanderbilt University. They've done most of the research based on this program. The way it's delivered is through 2 different courses, and each of the courses are 4 days of professional development training for the teachers. And in each of these trainings, the teachers really delve into the theory behind the practices, as well as assessment and then teaching of these things. Course 1 involves addition and subtraction, structuring of numbers, number sequencing, and number identification. Course 2 has a little asterisk beside it because it has a prerequisite of the foundational piece of Course 1, but then it really digs into the conceptual place value, multiplication, and division concepts. Many of our parents have been frustrated from listening to Common Core things, and we're not a Common Core state, but our standards have changed, and how we are doing mathematics a little bit different than what we've done in the classroom when I was still as a student. And so this is helping teachers be able to articulate how to get the mathematics out of the students verbally and different types of models as well. But during this training, they learn that together. The pictures on these slides are actually pictures of our teachers, the training. And so one of the features of AVMR is the teachers really work in a detailed understanding of how children develop early numeracy. And when I talk about early numeracy, it's really K-5. If you think about the whole piece of when kids learn to multiply or when they work on place value or addition and subtraction and those sorts of things, it's really a bigger picture. But it's based on this particular model, which is a little hard to see, but the teachers have worked through this, and we've also identified exactly where do the pieces fit for our standards in our state. And so it's about mathematics. It's not just about what we do in Texas or what they do in Louisiana or what they do in Oklahoma. It really can fit any of the needs because it's really about math. 2 + 2 is always 4. We may not all arrive at 4 in the same way, but 2 + 2 is always 4. Another feature is the teachers are learning different types of assessments. And if you're familiar with elementary especially, the literacy teachers are giving running records to their students to really determine where are they in their ability to read and comprehend. Well, this is almost like a running record for mathematics. It is an interview style assessment where a teacher sits down with another student and really digs into their thinking. It's not about automaticity, it's about their mathematical thinking. And so in the picture, you'll see some of our teachers putting together their kits in one of the posters that we created about sequencing, and then also one of their other materials with the handbook that has their assessments. But one of the big pieces is that they really are building collegial teams with one another, not just from their own campuses, but across the district, to be able to just to keep asking questions like, what did you notice? I wondered why the kiddo did this, and how did that happen? And so it really has offered some great conversation. One of the big pieces, day 3 in each of the courses, has a video component. Typically when this training is delivered, it's 4 days continuous. But for the need of our teachers being in their classrooms, we've done 2 days and 2 days. And so the first 2 days is really about the theory and the assessment piece. And when we come back for day 3, what they bring back with them, they had some homework, is to go give the assessment to a student of their choice with parent permission, of course. And they have a videotape of, or I say videotape, it's on the iPad, most of them. And they bring them to the training, and they sit with another colleague of their choice as well. And they really start analyzing and coaching each other through this process. What went well for them, what did not. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice this about this student, and I noticed this. I do want to talk about this little group right here. These are 2 of our dual language teachers. These assessments do come in Spanish, and so in this situation, one of the teachers chose to give the assessment in Spanish, and one of them chose to do it in English. And so when they paired up, they really got to see the different moves and different type of questioning that happened in both of the language. We also, one of our dual language coaches in our district, she has also gone through the training to be able to help support that as well. But it fits very nicely into one of our big areas of professional development is about coaching, but getting to really sit down with their colleagues and really notice, oh, I didn't know I was doing this, or Jennifer, can you tell me one more time, how do I use this? And so it's been a really great opportunity just to kind of talk and notice what kids are doing while they're thinking. The other piece that I want to point out, and I didn't highlight it in here, but these assessments don't just pick out what is wrong with where kids fail. It really can do a broad area from the reluctant student to the student that truly is struggling to the high achieving students, and we can really tailor make or customize what we're going to do with our kids in class, which kind of leads us to this. It's kind of diagnostic. I can look at a student individually, and then I can also look at my class as a whole. The teachers were a little hesitant, and that's one of the issues for implementation. Whoa, Jennifer, I don't have enough time to do this yet. And so I'll tell you about our journey in a moment and what I shared with them during the training. But we really can see a big picture of what our classes know and where we need to go for that. And I can differentiate what I do with my small groups in mathematics. So I want to go through these, and it's kind of hard to read because this is just the tip of the iceberg of the feedback. This is not typical feedback that you get from professional development. The green one says, numbers mean so much now. I've had a huge ahas that I've been doing some of this, but I have the tools now to know what to do with this information. I love that. I love the brave person right here says, I'm nervous and will probably need help, but I'm excited to see the results. I appreciate that vulnerability, and I told them to be on this journey with me, to keep asking questions. How does it fit within what we do in our district? And I'm here to support them as well as their math specialists on campus. The blue says, I now have a really good tool to use to assess where my kids really are in math. I can use my results to guide my lessons, individual interventions, and have info for parents and SIT. The teachers were really excited to be able to say, when I sit down with a parent, I can really share some really strong information, not just like, oh, they're doing really good. And our teachers know a lot about mathematics, but this is really to help them pinpoint some of the areas of need or success. And this one was one of the comments that was made last year when I went apart through the AVMR training. It says, it has opened my eyes how students learn number sense. I've grown in my teacher content knowledge, and I'm excited to apply what I've learned at school. I hope all teachers can be AVMR trained. AVMR goes hand in hand with our District 3 Season 3Rs. And it's not Jennifer sharing with the teachers, this is how it fits. They're sharing with me, oh my gosh, I really see how it aligns. So thinking about our journey, how did we get to February 2016 in our training? So I had to go way back to 2013 when I was still a math specialist at Creekview Elementary. And myself and Gina Porter had the opportunity she's another math specialist in the district, to go to math intervention specialist training, which is a year-long intensive training where we had to do several different types of professional development, where we did on-site professional development coaching. My coach was in New Mexico, and I was in Texas, and we had to do 100 hours of video teaching where I had to watch myself teach for 100 hours and reflect and that kind of thing, but really dug in there deep. And so the conversations that Gina and I were able to have, the other math specialists and other people on our campuses were like, oh my gosh, I really want this too. And I'm like, okay, we're not there yet. And so shift to last year when I got a new job. And so during that time, we brought in a consultant from Math Recovery, and she did the training courses 1 and 2 with the math specialist, elementary and intermediate math specialist, as well as a handful of our special education resource teachers at elementary. And they were so excited to be able to have the opportunity to go, oh my goodness, when I write my IEPs, I can be very specific in my goal writing for these students because I know where my kids are and where I need to go according to our standards. And then this past summer, Gina and I went to another training so we can come back and train our teachers in our own district and not have to pay a consultant to train. And I get to do the training, and Gina will help support that during the summer. So this year, we've had an opportunity in this room in the ACR to train by the end of the year in courses 1 and 2, over 120 of our elementary teachers, as well as our resource teachers, K-8. So think about the students that are really struggling or have some needs in the middle school and intermediate level. They're really struggling on those foundational pieces. And then this summer, we will send 2 more math specialists to intervention trainings so we can broaden our base of knowledge in our own districts so we can grow our own learners. So what are some of the challenges? It's costly. When Gina and I went originally to the training, it's a chunk of change. And Eddie Colson, when he was still the superintendent, he's the one that approved it because it was out of state and it was during the budget crisis, and you got to leave the state. Oh my goodness! But he allowed us. He allowed us to do that, and it was a huge, huge piece. And so I thank him for his foresight in that. But the cost where we have been paying for the professional development, the training, and the kits have really come from our federal funds, professional development funds. And then the other challenge is just the time. We're not at the point of full implementation. I told the teachers, I want you to go out and dabble, and I want you to go play with the ideas and tell me what works and what doesn't work. I really want to hear from you. You're in the trench every day. I'm not. I'm in an office and get to go to campuses as much as possible, but you're with kids every day, and I want to hear from you. And then also the time to be able to create customized materials for their students, whether it's assessment or instruction. But our next steps basically are to continue the AVMR professional development. And it does say K-8 math teachers. We're not there yet, but that is a long-term goal, to develop ready-to-use assessment tasks and instructional activities to be able to put with their kits that they get at the training, and then also sending 2 more math specialists to the intervention training, which is much more intensive, so we can continue to grow our leadership here to support that sustainability. So at the end, I want to leave you with this quote. Carolyn is the Math Recovery CEO. It's a quote that I opened the training with for course 1 and then also close it, and I think it's very appropriate. It says, with relentless curiosity, we invite you to open the doors, unlocking the potential and possibilities within each child. Through your persistence and inquisitive pursuit of understanding, you will make a difference in transforming numeracy education. And so at that point, that's what Advantage Math Recovery is. So any questions?
Thank you very much for that presentation.
You're welcome.
Very, very exciting, and you did a fantastic job of explaining it. Questions, comments from the other board members?
I have a comment. Jennifer, my wife, is a second grade teacher, and she got to do that, and she was fascinated with what she learned and is using it now. So she did a good job.
Thank you. They've done a wonderful job. I just got to share with them my favorite quotes. Is what I learned today doesn't make yesterday wrong. It makes tomorrow better. And so all the great things they know about how kids learn, it doesn't mean that they've been doing them wrong. We just might know something a little bit different now that we didn't know 5 years ago. And so they really have taken that and owned it. So thank you for that.
I would say, it sounds very powerful. When I think people, it's kind of a misnomer when you hear verbal math assessment, and we're so focused sometimes on did they get the answer right at the end, when the reality is just what we really want to know is how they're thinking through those problems. And so, I teach statistics to master's level students, and when they have issues trying to figure things out, having them verbalize their thought processes as they go through things is incredibly powerful. So I'm commend you guys in moving forward on this. I think it's move us in the right direction, and starting in elementary schools, if you're going to start somewhere, that's the best place to go. So thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming tonight. We'll move on to H2, consideration, discussion, and possible action related to the 2016-2017 school calendar. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin, members of the board. In the spring 2015 legislative session, a unique piece of legislation passed. It's House Bill 2610. It changed fundamentally how we define a school year in the state of Texas. It is now not 180 days or 177 days of instruction. It has been changed to 75,600 minutes is the least amount that a school child in Texas must have to have a full year. This has more than just changing from days to minutes. It's allowed school districts to have a little bit of flexibility in how they address the calendar, both with days of instruction, professional development, and teacher work days. And so with that, Mr. McIntyre took our district-wide Educational Improvement Council through this process, informing them about the legislation and going through a number of different calendar options. And some have been put on the website, and with a recommendation tonight for the 2016-17 school calendar is Mr. Greg McIntyre.
Thank you, Dr. Ely, Dr. Yokin, members of the board. We're pretty excited to bring forth a calendar that received a unanimous vote of approval from DEIC just last week. The vote was 20-0 in favor of it, and it was one of the only times that I can recall that when it came time for a vote, very little discussion, because there was just so much agreement and so much support for this particular calendar. A few items. Certainly, you'll notice at the top of the calendar, it does outline the number of minutes, 440 minutes, 300 minutes for an early release day. And then toward the bottom of the calendar, not only do we have the number of days that students would attend for the school year, but we've also done a little bit of the math, Ms. Smith, and added it up, and hopefully we did that correctly. So that it exceeds the 75,600 minutes. We built in a few extras.
Well, you did check and make 2 + 2 is always 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. We wouldn't have it any other way. 2 + 2 is always 4. A few of the items, just to point out, is that this calendar includes a little bit of an adjustment to the length of the elementary school day. Next year, elementary school days would start 5 minutes earlier and finish about 5 minutes later. So next year, the typical school day for our elementary schools would be from 7:45 in the morning to 3:05 in the afternoon. For our intermediate, middle, and high schools, there would be a little bit of an adjustment there as well. Currently, our 5 through 12 schools start at 8:20 in the morning. This would have them starting at 8:25, about 5 minutes later. And then also going till 3:50 in the afternoon, about 5 minutes later again. So a few little adjustments there. And what that will do is that will help us with our bus routes, to be quite honest with you. We can make an elementary run, and then we can make a secondary run, have the kids at school in time, and then also pick them up in the afternoon to take them home. A few other things we discussed last time was the length of the report card grading periods. And you'll notice in the legend that for kindergarten through fourth, our elementary school grades, that they would be on a 9-week grading period to allow a little bit more time for the types of things that Jennifer Smith was talking about earlier with AVMR, give us a little bit more time for those diagnostics and for evaluation, assessment, and communication with parents. But then for 5 through 12, you would notice that grades 5 through 12 would stay at 6 weeks like they currently are this school year. With that, I would like to entertain any questions or comments, and this one would be an action item.
Thank you for that. Any comments or questions?
I was there at the meeting, and it was, usually that's a
So you were
long meeting.
disappointed it wasn't.
No, I mean, usually that meeting goes and goes and goes, and it was, here we are, what do you think? Everybody said, I like it, let's vote, and we voted, and that was done. And we were all real surprised to get out of there so early.
Good.
Mr. McIntyre's tremendous leadership.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other comments or perhaps even a motion?
I would say, although I'm disappointed that we didn't adopt my 9 to 5 school schedule so that we could have a lot more holidays in the middle of the year, I would move that we approve the green calendar as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the green calendar as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The green calendar, here we come. Okay, we'll move on to H3, consider approval of 2015-16 district goals and objectives. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. As we talked about earlier, we'll be spending next Tuesday evening and Wednesday talking about our strategic direction and the way we're going. It's on a very higher level, 30,000-foot view. The plan that we use every year to really lead our efforts and our initiatives in the district and in our campuses is our district improvement plan. We adopt this in a two-stage model. Tonight, Mr. McIntyre is here to share the district improvement plan goals and objectives that have been approved by DEIC, and then we'll be coming later with the entire plan as it's fleshed out. So with the update on the goals and objectives, Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Dr. Ely, Dr. Yokin, members of the board. Hello again. Back for the next agenda item, and DEIC also unanimously approved the plan, goals, and objectives for your consideration tonight. You might recall that last year we did quite a revamp of the goals and the objectives to where if you take a look at Goal 1, it references two of our 3 R's. We have three C's and 3 R's in the district, rigor, relevance, and relationships. And you'll notice, just like last year, all students will successfully complete rigorous and relevant coursework that will prepare them for their future. Because of last year's really a rewrite of the goals and the objectives, the recommendation this evening is that we make very minor adjustments a little bit later in the goals and the objectives, and that we keep these goals and objectives the same next year as they currently are, because we really feel that they're worthwhile and they do a much better job than we have in the past of addressing the work of the district. You'll notice in Goal 2, it addresses through increasing opportunities for choice, students will be able to customize learning opportunities to meet their unique needs and develop creative thinking. And so goal number 2 really addresses all 3 C's that we tend to work on. That's the choice, the customization, and the creativity. As we take a look at Goal 3 was developed last year to really enhance the notion of a safe and supportive school environment while emphasizing positive, strong, healthy relationships. The relationships go a long way in providing a safe and supportive school environment. We all know that students want to go to school and where they feel safe and where they feel supported. And to be quite honest with you, it's those relationships that really help all of us, particularly at the campus level, with kids whenever something is not right. Kids will notice that in the school, in the environment, and they will approach that teacher, that coach, that counselor, or other adult in the building to let them know when something doesn't look right, and that gives us a chance to check that out. One of the areas that we wanted to emphasize a little bit more in Goal 3 were Objectives 3 and 4, and they're highlighted in red for you. Objective number 3 really talks about successful transitioning. In our district, we have some particular grade levels where transitioning is important whenever we go from grade 4 to grade 5. If you think about going from 4th grade in elementary to 5th grade in intermediate, that can be quite a transition for kids. Different classes, bells are ringing, lockers, all those kinds of things. Another big transition takes place from 6th grade to 7th grade, going into middle school, and then lastly from 8th grade into 9th grade. Well, with this objective, we also wanted to make sure that we addressed the transition towards graduation and the next level in our kids' lives after they graduate and after they leave us. So we want to make sure that we do all that we can to help kids successfully transition at that level as well. And then you'll notice objective number 4, nurturing relationships among staff to promote continuous growth both professionally and personally. Certainly nurturing those relationships through the types of things that we saw a little bit earlier in Jennifer Smith's presentation, through our coaching, our peer-to-peer coaching, and making sure that we develop those kind of relationships, again, both professionally and personally. And then our last two goals, goals 4 and 5. Goal 4, certainly want to continue to empower families and community to be full partners in students' educational success. And goal 5 is our accountability goal. Certainly we have lots of state and federal targets that we have to meet, but this one also addresses our accountability to our community through our community-based assessment approach that we've taken in the last few years. So not only do we want to make sure we meet those state and federal targets, but also those targets that we hold ourselves responsible for. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or entertain any comments about the proposed goals and objectives.
Thank you for that presentation and discussion. Any questions for Greg?
I want to say how much I like the transition that you've made to this setup from where we were. I think this does a great job of capturing what we're trying to do, and it really gives a good flavor for what it is that drives a lot of the decisions I see the board be a part of, but also the discussions I hear the administration having. So I just want to say that and how much I do appreciate that. And with that, I move that we approve the goals and objectives for 2016-17 district improvement plan as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to J1, receive a report on the 67,900 million, sorry. I don't have my glasses on. Unlimited Tax Building Bond Series 2006 sales from February 10, 2015. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yoakum, members of the board. You actually, in our January meeting, did the action to allow us to be able to sell $67,950,000 worth of unlimited tax school building bonds. What we're doing tonight is just sharing with you the results of that sale. The sale did take place on February the 10th. We have good news to share with you, and with that good news is Mike Martindale, Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations. Mr. Martindale?
Before I get started, Dr. Ely, I will not call Ms. Barrett by name, but I am reminded that after Mr. Walker did his final presentation in December, that she did point out to me her appreciation for his ability to articulate his thoughts in a very timely and efficient manner. So, thank you. So, in honor of Mr. Walker, we'll get straight to the point. We did have a bond sale last Wednesday, February the 10th. Total of $67,950,000. That is half of the value from the 2015 bond program of $135,900,000. The plan is to have or sell these in two equal installments, the second one coming in the beginning of next year, or 2017. We had a competitive bid process that occurred last Wednesday. We had 8 different entities bid on these bonds, and obviously we ended up going with Robert Baird with an interest rate of 2.839%. I'm going to say that again, 2.839%. It just feels good to say that rate. Robert Baird, I will mention this, were extremely aggressive with their bid. They were one of the first to post, as well as only one of the 8 that bid on this in the 2.8 range. The other 7 were in the 2.9s, all very good bids. However, Robert Baird seemed committed right from the very beginning. How does this translate to us? We will have the funds available in district by next Thursday, February 25th. And again, we established a fixed rate of 2.839% over the 25-year life of the bond. We project about a 3.5 cent increase on the INS rate, going from the current of 32.29 to around 35.84 cents as we move into the 16-17 school year. Also, I've included just a little historical information for you, past rates for the district. Obviously, the market served us well this time, and I hope this time next year I'm standing here giving you, I'm not going to say a better rate, but a rate that we're as proud of is associated with this sale that occurred last Wednesday. So with that being said, I'll be happy to field any questions.
Thank you very much. Everybody likes good news, so thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Well done in a timely manner with great news. A+.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Double A.
All right. With that, we'll move to item L, and the board will meet in executive. K. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ready to go. K1, consider approval of the guaranteed maximum price, the total project authorized for the superintendent or his designee. Yeah, well, he already heard, Ms. Barrett wants it timely and short. So to execute necessary documents associated therein and the authorization to proceed with the work associated with intermediate school number 3. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Dr. Yokin. In keeping with the theme of good news, John Hall, Executive Director for Facilities, will be sharing with you the results of our bid process and which resulted in a guaranteed maximum price for intermediate school number 3. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Dr. Ely, Dr. Yokin. Well, now that we've figured out how to get our hands on some money, I guess I better pitch something past y'all to spend it on. So it's my pleasure to present the new intermediate school number 3 project for your consideration and approval this evening. Back in November of 2015, which was just a few short months ago, the citizens of College Station passed a school bond in the amount of $135.9 million for new construction and renovation to district facilities. One of the major projects identified from that bond package was the new intermediate school number 3 project. This agenda item is to approve the guaranteed maximum price, or GMP, and total project budget for the intermediate school number 3 project. As always, our GMP was developed based on a request for competitive sealed proposals process, or RFCSP process, which was advertised to the public as required by statute, and our construction manager at risk Pepper Lawson Construction coordinated this effort on behalf of CSISD. Bid day for this project was February 2nd, 2016 at Pepper Lawson's office in Katy, Texas. And Theo Rouse and I were present for the bid opening, as was Melissa Fleming with VLK Architects. And I'm glad to report that the bids came in well below budget for this project. In consultation with CSISD and VLK Architects, Pepper Lawson Construction has reviewed the final scope of work, reputation of subcontractors, quality of materials specified, and other relevant factors in arriving at the GMP for this project, which is now proposed for your approval in the amount of $28,638,932. A summary of the total proposed budget is also listed for your information. Along with our GMP, I have listed all of the additional costs to be picked up by the school district for a total proposed project budget of $36,109,782. As a reminder, our initial budget for this project was $38,380,000. So this means our under budget amount or savings for this project is $2,270,218. And I just wanted to make a note that at the time of the bond planning last year, just a little bit of the reasoning behind some of this is the escalation for construction projects was hitting about 1% per month. So we really had to budget conservatively at the time, and so we were able to actually the trajectory was pretty steep, but it flattened out. The escalations weren't nearly as grim as they were anticipated, so we were able to take advantage of that and really hit the market at a very good time, and also take advantage of some low fuel costs too, which played a big factor in this. So all of that helped us out tremendously on bid days. Sorry to remind you of that again, Dr. Yokin, but it is good for the school district anyway. So.
Be able to take me home.
And so it is recommended that the Board of Trustees of College Station Independent School District consider approval of the guaranteed maximum price of $28,638,932 from Pepper Lawson Construction, and the total project budget in the amount of $36,109,782 for the new Intermediate School Number 3 project. It is further recommended that the superintendent or his designee be authorized to sign any necessary documents to implement the guaranteed maximum price, and that the Board of Trustees authorizes the commencement of the work associated with this project. That said, I'd love to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Great job, and know we're excited to go ahead and get started now that you have the money.
Thank you. It's nice to win one by a few touchdowns for a change.
Exactly. Any questions?
Does this need to be read out? Are we good?
You can.
Do it as presented. He presented all four areas that we needed.
I move approval as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? So the motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we'll move to executive session where the board will meet in executive session to conduct a closed meeting and deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property because the deliberation of an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the district in negotiations with a third party. The executive session deliberations will be held pursuant to the deliberations regarding real property closed meeting exception to the Texas Open Meeting Act as set forth in Section 551.0742 of the Texas Government Code. Once we have finished that, we will come back and adjourn in this room. And you're welcome to stay if you like, but if not, thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you next month. This meeting has been adjourned. Thank you.